Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi. No, I don't need to do that anymore. The games are done and dusted. What I do need now is exactly what we did last night, was pretty much have a good laugh. And I thought of this fella over the games. I thought about Merv Neal from Laughter Yoga Australia. I thought he'd be sitting back laughing and smiling at the great success that the green and gold has had on so many different levels. And I'm also aware that last time I spoke to Merv, there was a book. Remember that? There was a book in the pipeline. Well, Merv is joining us now all the way from the other side of this great land of ours called Australia. Merv, hello, mate, and welcome back to 6PR.
Todd, thanks so much for the opportunity, and you picked up on my press release that said the book is here.
Yes.
So great to talk to you.
Yeah, and look, good timing too, because I was smiling at the green and gold. Did you embrace the Olympic Games?
What was wonderful about it was the absolute joy on the people watching it. It was just amazing, you know.
Yeah.
The whole nation came together with a sense of patriotism, and everything else got forgotten. And these people were just having the time of their lives in gay Paris.
Yeah.
And we felt it all the way across here. So I'm a sports lover anyway, but I was just enwrapped in the whole concept of these people having the greatest time in their life. And the bad thing is, it only comes around once every 4 years.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
When it does, it's just this eruption of pride and patriotism, and I just got off on all of that, and the sport was entertaining as well.
Yeah, you and me. The camaraderie, the togethership, the mateship, the I guess the fact that people were supporting one another from whatever nation was beautiful. It made me smile. I thought that it's also good for them to support one another, and it's good for our endorphins. And then, bingo, through comes the press release, and I thought, this is it. About time we talk to Merv, because, mate, the book is bubbling very nicely, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it's going well, Todd. I never thought I'd have a book launch linked to the Olympics, so thanks very much. You never cease to amaze me. Yeah, the book is out, but don't go looking for it in Dymocks or anything like that, because it's an academic book. So essentially, it's for academia. It's for medical professionals.
No, come on. Don't underestimate my listening audience, mate. There's a lot of very clever people listening to this show. The dumb guy is the guy standing behind the microphone, but all the brains trust are listening on the speakers. They might be interested in this. Come on.
Look, I'm sure there's some academics out there listening to you and enjoying your show. But the point that I'm making is, when most people say, oh, there's a book out, when you see them on telly or hear them on radio, you know, pick it up at any good bookstore. That's not that sort of book. It's an academic book. And once again, it's targeted towards people who are studying medicine, and in particular psychology, and in double particular positive psychology.
Wow.
And that's why it's called The Positive Psychology of Laughter and Humour.
Yeah, but you've been pushing this. You've been wheeling this barrow down the street for such a long period of time. Isn't it wonderful to think that you're a part of this book that will be teaching and assisting people in the medical realm, the world of medicine? Golly gosh, there's enough stress in there as it is at the moment. We need to release more endorphins for the doctors and nurses.
Well, two things on that. I'm holding this book. I know this is bad radio, but I'm holding this book in my hand at the moment.
Works well. Works really well, mate. Works well.
and seriously, this is my gold medal. This is my gold medal, because who would have ever thought a kid that failed high school would be hanging out and writing an academic book with a professor and a doctor from the UK and Monaco? So this is my gold medal. Now, it's interesting that you talked about doctors, because just last weekend I flew interstate to do a 90-minute laughter session and a laughter workshop for a room full of general practitioners.
Good.
And I thought, wow, here's good old me standing up there and talking everything I know about laughter. And what was fascinating, Todd, was we talked about boosting mood. And I said, you know, what's the best thing that can boost your mood in just a matter of seconds? And it was a good laugh. Then I talked about morale. Now, I didn't realise until I went to this conference just how tough the doctors are doing it. We sort of go, oh, yeah, the doctors, you know, get over it, just keep working, keep making us healthy. But they're doing it so tough at the moment.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The main thing is, we're coming off the back of a pandemic that's not over. And all of a sudden, these people are experiencing burnout, not from the last week or the last month, but from the last 3 or 4 years. And so I just talked to them about how it boosts mood and creates positive outcomes, boosts morale in the clinics where they work. And, mate, they just hung on every word that I said, which was amazing. And then the chair of the organisation that invited me over there posted on social media the next day, laughter therapy could be the next big thing in social prescription. And once again, I'm just pinching myself at the moment. So all good news for our doctors in that we can provide them with such a simple tool, which they can then pass on to their clients and to their patients to help boost their mood. They might be really, really sick physically, but how are they going to boost their mood in this sort of situation? And some of the doctors are already referring patients and clients across to many laughter people across Australia, and they're saying, look, go and have a bloody good laugh, as you would say in your terminology.
Yeah,
and that's
thank
what's
you.
happening at the moment.
Thank you. See, it's funny. I turn on a couple of YouTube stories and channels at the moment, and I see a lot of things called art therapy, where people are being advised to, they've gone through a trauma, and they're being advised to take up painting or sculpting or whatever. And I think that's marvelous, and it's working. It's absolutely working. I can see it on some of the videos. And the other day, one popped up, which was all about laughter and the endorphins, the reminder of this negative world that we're living in. Unfortunately, you know, if it's negative news, it's sort of the headlines, whereas the positive news sort of gets maybe a little slot on page 16. We don't need that. The balance is out of whack. And I just think that 1 minute of a bit of a giggle or a smile every single day. I mean, last night we had Paul Littman on from menstalk.com.au, and it was talking, we're talking about young fellas and the digital awareness and men's health and boys' health in digital awareness. The camaraderie there is so important. The mateship is so important. The fact that the group hug and the laughing is so important in that element. And here we are tonight acknowledging that the medical fraternity, the doctors, are seeing it as that important as well. I think in future, Merv, Laughter Yoga Australia, something that you're a part of, it's your thing, it's your baby. I really think more than ever, with everything we've been through over the last couple of years, dear God, we need to get on the other side of the fence, and a lot of people are doing it through simply having a good crack-up laugh.
And once again, going back to the Olympics, it goes back to the joy. So whatever creates joy for you. And as I was listening to you then saying, oh, we're in such a negative world, where did that negative world go in the last 2 weeks? It disappeared.
Correct. Bingo.
It was replaced by people throwing sticks through the air and boxing and playing basketball, these ordinary everyday activities, but we felt that we were a part of it. Now, it was interesting you talked about that gentleman that was on last night and connecting men together. I'm ex-military, and it took me straight back to my Air Force days where we hung out with the guys and we were just there for each other. We supported each other, but the fun that we had and the things that we got up to, thank goodness social media and cameras wasn't around then.
Agree.
Anything that can provide that camaraderie and that connection is just absolute gold. And what we did with this room full of doctors at their conference last Saturday, we just got them connected, and they had so much fun. You could see the joy in the room, and I'm going, this is a real breakthrough, you know, for these people who are in the health business. But what can they do themselves to be healthy and, more importantly, happy? Because if you can boost mood, then you boost and maintain positive outcomes. And that's the essence of what positive psychology is all about.
I'm also thinking too, Merv, that once upon a time when you and I were young fellas, we had mates. You in the services, me with the footy clubs and bands, etc. We had mates around it. Mateship was really great in Australia. Now, even though we're supposed to be connected, compliments of social media, it's not the same connection. It's like a screen connection, likes, dislikes, and thumbs up and thumbs down. It's very it's very visual. It's not an authentic mateship. And I think that's really important. Nighttime radio, we have a community. Laughter generates a community. These doctors together, by laughing with one another, there's some sort of a relationship that builds that can help them get through situations, which, as a result, can help us, the plebs of this world. We need a good laugh. We need that connection, don't we, more than ever?
Well, what was interesting, going back to the doctors, and bless the work that they do and what they've done for us through COVID, you know, they were facing death every day, standing up and doing this. They're the real heroes of the pandemic. And what was interesting is they all had a likeness to be in the room, and that likeness was they were general practitioners, but they all worked in separate, or usually in separate clinics, and all I had to do was connect them. So they already had a likeness there, being general practitioners, but how can we connect? And as soon as they started to connect with the laughter, we even threw in a hugging laughter exercise. I said, provided the other person got their arms out, you know, accepting that a hug's coming their way, I said, why don't you have a hug and a laugh? And oh, my goodness, to see it just brought so much joy to me. Now, last night, I actually had another gig, and this was for foster carers or foster parents.
Wow.
Now, talk about tough gigs, you know. And to start it off, this was through the Lutheran Carers Group. And to start it off, I just said, just introduce yourself. And they all introduced themselves, not necessarily by name or age or where they were, but by the likeness they had about the work that they do to care for kiddies that need a family. Mate, I was nearly crying. But then with that commonality about the work that they do, I said, let's have a laugh. And I don't know, got some inspiration from somewhere. And I just started to do different laughs about family and connection to children and this sort of stuff. And mate, it just went off. It was just such a beautiful sight to see.
Isn't it beautiful to think that the emotion and the small link, and gosh, I'm running out of time. I'm going to have to talk to you more often, Merv. But the link between laughter and also tears of joy. It's such a fine line between those two, and yet they're so closely related. I have experienced so much joy over the last couple of weeks, as you have mentioned, with regards to the Olympic Games. We've all seen it, and we've forgotten about the real world. Now we're back into the real world to a certain extent. I think laughter is so important. This book is not for everybody and cannot be purchased by everybody. The new book, The Positive Psychology of Laughter and Humour. Merv is one of the go-to guys in there, one of the authors. We're so excited for you on so many different levels. But I think, Merv, more than ever, we need to remind ourselves of the benefit of laughter. Your Laughter Yoga Australia is available. People can go online, get some ideas. What would you recommend, just in 30 seconds or less, that people do when they first go to Laughter Yoga Australia?
Look to the button that says free online daily laughter sessions.
Right.
Go to that page. You will see there is a free daily online laughter session. And the name of the person who's running it, mine's on Tuesday nights. I've just done it earlier on, actually. And just send a link to the person saying, can you send me the link? Get on there and have a bloody good laugh, as you would say.
You're a good man. Merv, now I've run out of time. Thank you for your laughter. Thank you for your merriment and joy. Let's do it a bit more often. Is that all right with you?
You got my number, buddy.
Yeah, good on you, Merv. Merv Neal, Laughter Yoga Australia. We love communicating with Merv. And folks, there's so many great lessons that he's just reminded us of. It's common sense, but the world that we live in sometimes becomes intense, and we do need to soften the blows sometimes. Merv will be back, I reckon, a couple of weeks' time. So stay listening to 6PR, and I'll be back after this break.